Ladies and gentlemen, we're back live. Obviously, I'm not super excited right now. I'm excited that we got a huge comeback and a draw. It was classic Sir Alex Ferguson style, coming back at the last minute and managing to pull out something from nothing. But at the same time, who would have thought that Burnley would have been the first team we would have dropped points to? Same time, sometimes that's just how football goes, and you can't always win every match. And it was a matter of if, not when, Ollie was going to have a poor result for the first time. And now it's time to see how the team will react. Today, I'm joined by only one man, the one, the only, Matthew McFadden. Matthew, how you feeling after that match, man?
I'm not going to lie, I'm a bit annoyed. No, we've dropped points and I've just conceded a goal in FIFA. It's not a good night.
I mean, what's more disappointing, the giving up the goal in FIFA or the result?
Oh, FIFA hands down. I mean, I'm winning 3-1, but I don't care.
Fair enough. But Pankaj, you're absolutely right. Is that Andrew? That's what we are. We never give up. The never give up mentality is it's something that is just embedded into the club, Pankaj, which I agree with you. Susan, I agree with you. Victor Lindelof was fantastic. He's proving why he is our best center back at the moment. Mr. Exclusive and Chris McTeague, good to see you guys. Jay Hart, good to see you as well. Jay Hart said anything can happen in the Premier League. It's not like the French league, which amen to that, Jay Hart. Amen to that. So let's go ahead. Let's start getting into this match a little bit. Like you guys can obviously hear, I'm just a little bit disappointed that we dropped points, but at the same time, I'm not overly disappointed. This wasn't and I know that this might be a bit biased, but it's not like things were under the old guy. That if this had happened under the old guy, I honestly think that I would be a lot more pissed off because I would have seen what we just saw and been like, okay, well, what were we doing? But you could see that the fight was still there all the way till the end. I mean, Matthew, I don't know if you agree with me on that or not, but you could just see that the fight was there all the way to the end.
Oh, yeah, 100%. I think for the first 80 minutes, we just weren't good enough whatsoever. I think Burnley kind of outclassed us tactically. However, if there's one guy who knows about late goals, it's the guy in the dugout, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is Ole Gunnar Solskjaer that knows all about the late comebacks. And Jake Pert, I mean, you bring up a good point, and it's something we're just getting ready to talk about. Jones, Young, Mata, Lukaku, and even Pereira aren't good enough for me. Listen, Jake, I get your point there. I think that you've got to give Pereira a couple more starts in the Premier League before the end of the year. But Matthew, overall, hearing Jake's list there, I mean, we kind of got the overall list of quote unquote Deadwood FC, and it was obvious today who the Deadwood is at the club. I mean, Matthew, do you agree with that? We kind of saw who the obvious Deadwood was?
Yeah, I think it was quite frankly an audition to see who can fit into the Deadwood FC. And I think quite a few players passed it. As for Lukaku, I don't know, I'm still not sure. For the time being, I keep him because we don't really have many players who can play as a proper number 9. But yeah, I think most of those other players I'd definitely sell.
Yeah. Listen, we obviously we see who isn't good enough for Manchester United, guys. We do. We see who isn't good enough. And end of the day, you gotta now is the time that we have to experiment a little bit. We've got a lot of fixture congestion coming up. We've got a lot of things coming up overall that we need to see what we have in the squad. It's the truth. We need to see what we have in the squad. And to me, today showed that we need to have Bailly starting in that back four. We need to, as unfortunate as it is, I think that Juan Mata, unless you are going to play him, middle of the pitch and more in a sub-appearance type of role, I think that it might be time to let Juan Mata go. I mean, Jesse Lingard, it was obvious that we were missing him today. It was obvious we were missing Jesse Lingard. And Carl Brown, I mean, that's a good way to put it. Draw was a fair result, still unbeaten under Ollie. We can do it again, go again Sunday, which you're exactly right on that, Carl. You're exactly right. Jay Hart did say we had 28 shots on goal. 28 shots. Can't be faulted when Heaton started that the transform into David De Gea, which that is fair. Listen, Heaton stood on his head today, like he manages to always do whenever he comes to Old Trafford. I mean, I can't say enough about how good he was today. Heaton saved them. Heaton saved them from giving up points. It's the truth.
He's done it a couple of times as well against United in particular.
Yeah.
Like specifically, I think 2 years ago under Mourinho's first season. I'm sure it was a 0-0 draw. And he put in an absolute blinder of a performance. That was in that time where every keeper would just come to United and turn into David De Gea and steroids.
Well, and I like this comment from Logan. Logan said, Mata and Lukaku do not suit Ollie's fast build-up style, which that is very true. Paul Gardner said Pereira hasn't been top quality anywhere he's played, here or on loan. He played well now and again out on loan, but never reached the heights expected of him. Harsh truth, which unfortunately, Paul, you might be right. You might be right.
It's a nail in the head.
Yeah. I mean, it might be time to start looking elsewhere. As unfortunate as that is to say, because I think we all want to see players like Andres Pereira succeed. We do. But at a certain point, you have to be like, you know what? I think it might be time to move on with your career. And it's sad. And Carl Brown, he said Heaton is like David De Gea when he comes to play at Old Trafford. It was brilliant to see Man City lose tonight. Listen, it's great seeing City lose, but at the same time, that's just Liverpool that much closer to winning the league now too, which sucks to say. So Nana Ba said Lukaku did nothing wrong. He actually made some very useful contributions. Ollie was a bit naive leaving Herrera out, which that is exactly what I was going to get into next here. I was going to get into the fact that when both of us kind of went through in fact, I think all of us, when we went through our predicted lineups, I don't think any of us dropped Herrera. I think we all dropped Matic, which I think that dropping Herrera proved to be the fateful thing for Ollie today. Which, I mean, Matthew, do you agree with that?
Yeah, I'd say so. I just think there were certain selections in that game where I looked at it and I thought, it's a bit strange here. And I think just tactically, we just weren't good enough for the most part of that game.
Yeah, I mean, and you're not wrong. You're really not. And then Carl, good to see you. So in case you guys didn't see it on Twitter, Carl got to meet Ryan Giggs today, which talk about a fantastic memory that he'll have getting to meet Ryan Giggs. And Carl, can you give confirmation? Did you win that jersey, or did you actually bring your own jersey to have Ryan Giggs sign it? I didn't know.
That's all good, but have you seen Lee Grant in the flesh?
Yeah, that's a good point. He did finally see Lee Grant in the flesh. So George Kyle did say, I dropped Herrera. The fateful thing was the atrocious defending. I mean, that's true. The defending was absolutely terrible today. But I mean, Matthew, let's go ahead. Let's start moving on and progressing a little bit here. You look at what happened out on the pitch today, and you could just see that something was missing, and you couldn't really tell what it was initially. But as the game went on, you could really see that it was just that pace and energy that was missing for Manchester United. I mean, what do you think specifically was missing, Matthew?
I think too was Jesse Lingard. I've criticised him so much in his United career, but recently, if there's someone who fits Ole's system like an absolute glove, I think it's Jesse. And not only just substituting him out, which, to be fair, like Paul says, we kind of have to rotate at some points.
Yeah.
But expected of any team. But in certain areas, we just don't have any depth. And we're forced to put Mata in more. He wasn't necessarily played completely right wing today, but was still on the right of that front three for most of the game. Yeah, he's good, technically gifted and all that, but he's got no pace, no real intensity to press, and isn't really going to make those gut-busting runs from his own half to the other. And that's what Lingard gives you.
Yeah.
So he missed that badly today. I think we also missed a little bit from Paul Pogba. I think in the first half, I'm not going to lie, I thought he was quite good, especially in the first 5 or 10 minutes, where he was creating quite a few decent chances. But in the second half, he just looked he looked annoyed and quite frustrated. And it just seemed like every pass from him was just, what Wayne Rooney did in his last season at United, that we criticised him so much for, just constantly playing that Hollywood pass to the right wing.
Yeah.
Seemed to do that a little bit too much.
Yeah. No, and listen, the Mata thing, like you bring up a fantastic point there. And we did see Juan Mata get very, very frustrated, which is something we very rarely see. Like the fact that he got a yellow card for dissent, we don't ever see that from Juan Mata.
Nope.
So there is obviously something going on with that. And I think that Juan himself, is getting frustrated with the fact that he just, I think he realizes he just doesn't have the same pace that he used to anymore, which is probably hard for somebody that was one of the best footballers in the world at one point. George Kyle said, I'll tell you what was missing. Ashley Young's braying. I heard the Scarecrow took it. Jesus. Come on, George. I love this comment from Jay Hart. He said, sneak Jones into the plane with Fellaini to China. That's what I say. Which, funny enough, Matthew, before we got like on air here, we talked about the fact that I actually think Fellaini in this game would have been useful because we could not win a damn header to save our lives.
I think that's something that we all don't want to admit. The fact that when it actually looks like Fellaini's finally leaving a club, that's the one game where I think most of us were secretly thinking, you know what, we could have the big striker up front. It's not Lukaku. And fortunately, I still don't want him anywhere near the club. But unfortunately, in this game, he's off to China.
Yeah.
So it was almost like Fellaini getting one last laugh anyway.
And you know what? I think that's a good way to put it. He kind of is getting a little bit of a last laugh there. So Nikki Collis said, it wasn't our best performance, but at least we didn't lose, which that is a fantastic point. So Saban, I did see that. I did see you said something a little bit earlier that stood out to me. I'm going to see if I can't find it. He said, that's what it was. He said, I hate Heaton, which, yeah, I think that we all kind of have that hate for those guys that manage to come to Old Trafford and just stand on their head or play super well whenever they come to us. It seems like there's always somebody that does it. So Vandy Candy said Burnley are unbeaten in 5 now. This was always going to be a hard but defensive errors were terrible, which you're very, very right about that, Vandy. And Pancakes did say, Andrew, under Sir Alex, we may have still drawn the game. Which, listen, I'm not saying we wouldn't have drawn the game under Sir Alex. I actually think that pulling back the draw with that much time left was a fantastic result. I mean, Matthew, do you agree with that?
Yeah, I think the last 10 minutes or so, it was just such a contrast compared to the other 86 or 85 minutes. But yeah, ultimately, in the grand scheme of things, it wasn't enough. But it was kind of good to see that intensity from the team in the last 10 minutes.
Yeah.
And it was almost sort of reminiscent of Fergie, really.
Yeah. No, absolutely. Absolutely. And so Jake Pert did say City beat them 5-0 at the weekend, which that was an FA Cup game, in fairness. George Gow said Fellaini would not have been useful. I disagree personally, George. I think this was a game where we needed to win headers, and headers weren't being won. So I think that Fellaini does do a good job at winning headers. That's something that we can give him some credit for, because I think that ultimately it's something that was obvious that was missing today. The fact that we could not win a header to save our lives. I literally do not think that in our box that we won a header attacking wise. I think the only person that did was Alexis Sanchez towards the end of the game when Lindelof got his second goal. I think that was the only one. And George, you are right that the 2 goals was the killer. Paul Gardner said can't fault the attitude in the comeback, but we should never have been in that position, which, Paul, you're absolutely right about that. So, Matthew, let's go ahead and let's start getting into our player ratings. David De Gea is going to be an interesting one because ultimately I don't think that there was anything he could have done about the goals that were scored. But, at the same time, a goalkeeper gives up 2 goals. I mean, you basically put it in comparison to Heaton, who I would give man of the match today, because he did save Burnley from losing that game. 100% saved Burnley from losing that game, whereas De Gea really only had 2 shots on goal, and those 2 shots managed to go in. I mean, there was the one shot that was hit directly to him, but that's it. So, Matthew, what do you give him?
Yeah, I was going to bring up the first shot. Don't get me wrong, I've not seen the goals again, but looking at it at the time, it just seemed to have gone straight at him. And obviously, it looked like it was some amount of power and straight at the roof of the net. However, you kind of expect David De Gea to save that. So, to be perfectly honest, I'd maybe give David De Gea a 5 when we compare our standards of him. And he didn't. I don't really think he made a lot of saves, even though Burnley had quite a few shots on target. He didn't really make many saves or any sort of saves that you think, right, that's a good save, as opposed to it's a routine one.
Yeah. No,
a very uncharacteristic 5 from him.
Yeah, because the header goal was the one that was kind of surprising to me, because the way that ball was hit on the first goal with how much pace it was hit with, I can't really fault De Gea for not getting to it. Like, he was inside of the 18-yard box. Say it was probably about 10 to 12 yards out, and he smashed it into the net. So to me, I'll give De Gea a 5 as well. But because I feel like the second goal was the one where normally we would see De Gea in a better position than that, and he didn't even get the chance to get down. I know Arthur's a little bit disappointed in the draw today, guys. So let's see.
He just flat out rejected you there.
He did. He's very upset. I told you.
Rejection.
I told you. He's upset. Leave the poor boy alone.
In the chat fracture there.
Tyler123, good to see you. So guys, if you want to get your ratings read out for everybody today, get them into the live comments right now. I would love to be able to read out your guys' ratings. So De Gea for Saban got a 5. Jake Pert said De Gea 6. Paul Gardner said De Gea 5. Jake Pert, I'm sorry, Jake was just giving everybody ratings. Jay Hart said De Gea a 6. Not his fault for the goals, but didn't become the superhero we wanted, which that is the best way to put it. He wasn't the superhero we expect De Gea to be, basically. And you know what? I don't see anybody else's ratings today. Richard Duff, good to see you in here. It looks like you're new. Hope you subscribe. Would love to see all the new people that are in here be able to get their ratings in for players. So we'll go ahead. Let's move on to George Kyle's least favorite player, Ashley Young. What do you give Ashley Young today?
See, I think that second goal, I don't know why he was behind the striker in terms of when he was going to jump up for it. Always going to try and get in front of him. Then you've obviously got a much better chance of hitting it. Again, it was just another typical Ashley Young performance where he just offers nothing. His crossing was diabolical. There was that one that I remember. I don't know when it was, but it was such a good position. I think there was Pogba, there was Rashford, and there was Lukaku all in the box. And he crossed it, and it just sailed over everyone, and Luke Shaw managed just to keep it inside the pitch. Yeah. You're absolutely right on that. That just sums up Ashley Young's season. Never mind last couple of games. So Young for me, 4 out of 10. 4 out of 10. I mean, I'd give him a 4 as well. He just.
Ashley's one of the most confusing players because, like, now that he's playing on the right, you can see he's a lot more comfortable. But at the same time, like, he's had a couple of bad games back to back. He has. And so for me, 4 seems like an appropriate rating. So I would love to see what you guys rate Ashley Young today. So Jake Pert did give Young a 4 as well. I remember that one. Let's see here. Vandy Candy said Young always exposed 3. AF said Young 1. Saban said Young 3. And AFF did say his poor crosses. Paul Gardner said Young 6, made some good runs and was always in space but rarely found. When he was found, his delivery was poor. So he said no 5 right after that. Jay Hart said, I can't even rate Ashley Young anymore. He is the captain, FFS. Can't cross, can't defend, can't run. What good is he? Which, that's fair.
He's turning into the English Antonio Valencia now.
Yeah. Like, honestly, it makes you wonder when we're going to see Delo out on that right-hand side. I think it's only a matter of time. Richard Duff gave Young a 3 as well. And then Vandy Candy did say Young can't defend to save his life against mid-table teams. Only works when we play on the counter, which that's actually a pretty fair assessment. When we play on the counter, I do tend to notice Ashley Young offensively a little bit more. And Jake Pert did say Delo has a brilliant cross on him, which I actually thought that Delo for sure would have come on in this match for Ashley Young because of how poor Ashley Young's crossing was. But let's go ahead. Let's move on to Victor Lindelof. Victor Lindelof probably is going to get Manchester United's man of the match today. He was solid across the back and delivered the ball well. Matthew, what are you going to give him?
I think even purely for that last goal, I'd give him maybe an 8 out of 10.
Yeah.
I thought at times he was a little bit suspect defensively, although when you're up against 2, brick shithouse target men, then you're not going to dominate every single time.
Yeah.
So I think he was a little bit, more challenged compared to the strikers that he typically deals with well. But yeah, I think overall he had a decent game, quite well in fact. But yeah, that goal probably puts up another 1 or 2 ratings, so 8 out of 10 for me.
And funny enough, the goal is what made it an 8 out of 10 for me as well. So far we're right on target with all of our ratings. Lindelof for me, I just look at him and I forget who's been saying it. I'm sorry that I'm forgetting this, but there's somebody that's been in this chat that has said that Victor Lindelof should be considered as a future captain. And I actually today really saw that. Victor was a leader. Victor really came to play today. And we're really starting to see the Victor Lindelof that we all thought we would get from Sevilla when we bought him. So I'm actually going to be really excited to see what you guys.
Benfica, not Sevilla.
Oh, Benfica. Sorry, because Bay is from Sevilla, right?
Nope, Villarreal. You've shot yourself there.
Damn it! Who am I thinking of that we got from Sevilla then?
I have no idea. I don't know.
I'm sorry. Listen, guys, I'm sorry. It's been a long day.
Someone that we got from Sevilla.
I swear to God, there's somebody, but either way, we've got Victor Lindelof now, and I'm really happy to have him. So, guys, if you want to get your ratings in for Victor Lindelof, get them in now. So, Saban said Lindelof 8, AFF said Lindelof 8, Richard Duff 8, Susan said 8, Jay Hart said I give Lindelof a 7, solid as always. Can't give any higher than that since we did concede 2 goals. That's fair. That is fair. Jake Pert did say Lindelof 7. Shane Thompson said 7.5. I like it. We've got Vandy Candy said Lindelof 6. Not going to count his goal because he is primarily a center back and he didn't look good without Bailly, which that's a fair assessment. Paul Gardner said Lindelof 7. Damn you, Matthew. So Wallace said Lindelof 9. So Easy said Jones is crap, which we're about to move on to Phil Jones here. And then good to see a few new people, guys. I'm really happy to see you guys. So Matthew, Phil Jones, you could partially put him at fault for the goal that was given up that Andres Pereira lost possession of. What do you give Phil Jones today?
Yeah, don't get me wrong, I've not seen the pass at least up to that goal. All I saw was Pereira just fannying about in the ball, so I need to actually see that pass before I can really judge it. But
That's fair.
Even so, the game was quite poor. So I think if those people talking about that pass, really putting Pereira under pressure, you'd probably need to give -1 for that. So overall, maybe 4 out of 10, or maybe 3 if you're feeling really harsh.
I'm feeling really harsh today, so I'm giving him the 3 if you want to give him the 4. So
it's absolutely ruthless.
Listen, sometimes we got to be ruthless, and it's a lot of people say that Mateo Darmian is the captain of Deadwood FC. For me, Phil Jones is the captain of Deadwood FC. That man is somebody that I'm like, why is he starting over Eric Bailly? Why? Eric Bailly should be starting match in and match out at this point, and I don't understand why he continues to get started. That's just my personal opinion. It does and this is what we always say on this channel. If you're new to this channel, I want you to hear this. I don't ever say that I am 100% right. I'll never say it because everybody has an opinion. So it's just my opinion. Phil Jones was by far the worst player that was in our defense today, without question. So let's see where you guys went with your ratings. I'm expecting to laugh a little bit here. By the way, thank you, Easy, for subbing. I appreciate that. Paul Gardner said Jones 5. Jay Hart said I give Jones a one-way ticket away from United. Fair. AFAF said 0 and just put a whole bunch of zeros. I like it. Richard Duff said Jones 2. Tyler123 said Jones 4, always very sloppy on the ball, which that is very true. Vandy Candy said Jones, big fat 0, just give him away to Cardiff or somebody. Saban said Bloody Jones 0. Easy said Jones is not composed at all. Is not composed, always frantic and scared of messing up. He's like a flaming bird on the ball. That is an interesting assessment there. I like that. Susan said Jones 2 and bus ticket away from United. Once again, you guys are just I give you guys some clapping there for your comments. I love it. Let's see here. Darmian is better than Jones, said Saban, which I 100% agree with. What about selling Lukaku and Alexis and signing one good center back? I'd be all for that, Walla. Jay Hart said, I would even start Smalling. At least he wins headers. Which, Jay Hart, I 100% agree with that. I'd start Smalling over Phil Jones all day long. All day long. Wallace said...
The people in the comments next, apart from Phil Jones, to be honest.
AFF did say Maguire next to Lindelof, which I wouldn't mind that. Mr. Exclusive with one of my favorite comments ever. Jones 10, and I mean I'll take £10 for him. Fair. And then Jake Pert, I did say so. Jake Pert said three for Jones. His defending for the first goal was crap, and he did a 360 and ran his back to the ball. The pass was crap as well. And then Easy said Jones 5. Superboy 13 said we need Bailly to play. 100% agree. We do need Bailly to be playing. And DW said I would rather keep Fellaini and play him at center back than Jones. And once again, I actually agree with that. He would be more effective than Phil Jones, that's for sure. Superboy 13 said I have a conspiracy theory that Jones and Phelan have dirt on Solskjaer and force him to play. Listen, I hope that's not the case.
I'll tell you what, George Taylor just put an absolute stilter of a stat in the group chat. It's a little bit late since we're actually young. He attempted 13 crosses. Guess how many crosses were complete?
0.
1.
Oof.
Yeah.
Yikes.
That's 10%.
That's not good. The Statman Doug is in the chat, guys. Statman Doug in the chat. Good to see you, my friend. And listen, Superboy, 100%. I want Delo to be playing. So let's go ahead, Matthew. Let's move on to Luke Shaw. Luke Shaw, decent game. Wasn't great, but definitely wasn't good either. Like, he's a confusing one right now because, like, I feel like he's just not clicking in the system, but I don't know what that's down to. So, what do you give Luke Shaw for today, Matthew?
I just think it was a very sort of indifferent game from him. He didn't really do anything that bad, but he didn't do anything that good. And I feel like that's been the rating for Luke Shaw for the past month. Where he's not inherently that bad, but he just doesn't really offer anything.
Yeah.
Like, the only thing I can actually remember him doing was a decent right-footed shot that got deflected. But aside from that, I just didn't see anything from him. So really, I'd probably say a 5 out of 10 or a 6.
I was going to give him a 5 because 2 goals were scored today. It's not necessarily his fault completely, but like if you allow 2 goals as a defense, something has got to be wrong with the defense in general. So I'll give him a 5. With your 6, 5.5. We'll just even it out. Which, by the way, Matthew, we were asked this from Tyler123, and I'll answer it happily. He said, "Would you swap Van Dijk for Lindelof or buy?" And listen, this is just my United bias, but no, because I don't want anybody that played for Liverpool playing for my team. Matthew, what about you?
Yeah, I've got that same mentality as well, but I tell you what, he's close to being an exception.
That's fair.
And it's so annoying that he's joined Liverpool because I absolutely love him as a player. It's like even watching him when he was at Celtic as well. Like, he would score screamers for fun, and he doesn't really do that anymore, but see, you can't sign a Scouser. You can't sign a Scouser.
You can't do it. You can't do it.
It's Virgil van Dijk, and he's the best centre-back in the league by an absolute country mile.
Nah, that's Victor Lindelof, bro. Van Dijk sucks in comparison to Victor Lindelof, okay? Get it right.
That's a hot statement.
Get it right. We're Man United fans here. We do not accept anything that's positive about Liverpool.
I know you're right. In a hypothetical situation, if we get him in the next 2 days, 100% I take him. Because Liverpool are nothing without Van Dijk.
Fair enough. Listen,
the big bottle of elite.
I'm not going to fault anybody for saying they want Van Dijk. I'm not going to. Yeah. But at the same time, that guy can go away. Go away. Go play for Real Madrid.
I don't want a Scouser, but I like Van Dijk, and I shouldn't say that. I just like him.
It's because he played for Celtic, you Scottish bastard, you.
Celtic, actually, I'm going to say this right now. I hate Celtic more than I hate other teams. So, not because of that whatsoever, but yeah.
Fair enough, Matthew. Fair enough. But so we'll go ahead and we'll get into people's ratings real quick. So Saban said Shaw 5. Vandy Candy Shaw 5. Everybody was average. Susan said Shaw 6. Richard Duff said 6.5 for Shaw. AFAF said Shaw 5.5. Jake Pert said 6. Let's see here. Sorry, guys. My computer sometimes likes to scroll down extra fast, and I'll miss people's ratings. Paul Gardner said Shaw 6. Made a couple of good overlapping runs in the first half, but largely seemed unsure of himself, which that is very true. Only Shane Thompson said only thing consistent with Jones is the faces he pulls, which that is 100% true. Good comment. Wallace said Shaw 5.5, and Delo should start instead of him. I'll start Delo over Young though. I'd prefer to start Shaw instead of Young. That's just my personal opinion though. Jay Hart said Shaw gets a 5. He didn't provide the chances forward. Defensively, he is poor. He needs to prove himself ASAP. Which fantastic comment there. Superboy13 said I don't want Liverpool to win the league. Nobody wants Liverpool to win the league, bro. Except for maybe one person in the chat, but we won't sell him out. Jake Pert, listen, we know we had Michael Owen, but nobody wanted Michael Owen. Vandy Candy did say hell yes.
I'd take a player who at one point played for Liverpool because it means that they've actually seen the light and left them.
Who's that?
Just hypothetically. I'd take a player who at one point in their career had played for Liverpool and had left to play for a different club or whatever. I just wouldn't sign a player directly from them.
Fair enough.
Because I don't think it's ever been done. in both their club's history.
In case you guys didn't see that, Arthur's being pretty funny over in the corner here. So Matthew, you were asked by Jay Hart now, would you take Coutinho?
Nope.
Fair enough.
We've got Martial, we've got Rashford, we've got players who play this in that kind of number 10 or left wing position, so nah, not really.
Paul Gardner, I will have Matthew McFadden ban you from this channel forever, okay? I will do it. Don't make me have to do it. Jay Hart said Arthur disagrees there. No Liverpool players allowed. It's very true. Look, he's getting very upset with you, Matthew. He's ready to box you. Like, he's over here in the corner just ready to fight. But
see, that's a disadvantage because I can't beat up a dog. I've lost already.
You have, well, especially look at his face, dude.
You know, do I lose a boxing match to an animal, or do I beat up an animal, or forever be accused of being an animal abuser?
You definitely take the beating.
Defend yourself in.
You take the beating, 100%. In case you guys didn't see it, Arthur is right here on my wall. Arthur is the true number 7 for every team that has ever played ever. So that's what we talk about here. But so Matthew, let's go ahead. Let's move on to Nemanja Matic, somebody that I personally thought should have been dropped today instead of Andrew Herrera. But he didn't necessarily have a horrible game today, though. What do you give Nemanja Matic?
I just thought it was a bit of a steady performance, really, from him. I didn't really see anything too glaringly bad. But again, he didn't really contribute much. I think it's the same with Luke Shaw, really. And to be honest, I give him a 6 out of 10.
6 out of 10 seems appropriate. I'm going to give him a 6 out of 10 as well.
Assuming that 6 is your sort of default average rating, then I think a 6 is appropriate.
Push the ball. So Jonathan Ford, this comment is pretty funny. I get that you're kind of giving me crap about being an American, but I'll give it to you. He said we should have used the tactic of face off, pitch the ball to the head pin, over the blue line, 3-pointer to a touchdown pass in sudden death overtime. Listen, fair credit to you, man. That's impressive American stats right there.
Yeah, missed a home run.
Yeah, he did miss the home run. That's true. So you dang it, man. Dang it. So let's see here. So I think pretty much everybody is giving Matic a 6. I haven't seen so AFF did say Matic 7, but so Jake Pert, Vandy Katie did say Matic 5 average. Paul Gardner said 6. Saban said 6. Susan said 6. Jay Hart, I give Matic 6. Didn't make any mistakes. Richard Duff, I did say you did say Matic 6 steady. Richard, so then Walla said Matic 6. Tyler 123 said Matic 6, always calm on the ball. Superboy 123 said Matic 6. Shane Thompson said 6 is about right for him. Matic 1 way home. That's a little harsh, Mr. Exclusive, but we respect all opinions here. There was a question that Tyler asked, and Tyler, we'll get into that a little bit later on another stream, because right now we're talking about the match. So Pereira today, to me, I thought he had a decent first half, but he was just absolutely awful in the second half. So Matthew, what do you give him today?
You know what? I'm going to be absolutely brutal and give him a 2.
Oof, that is brutal.
I think I'm at the point now where I'm just kind of sick of it now. Like, it's obvious that he's got so much talent, but no application whatsoever. And you can't. Obviously, he's probably more used to be playing in more advanced position, kind of like what Pogba was or what Massa was. But at least he wasn't a lone DM.
That's true.
In that kind of situation, you just need to show more. And I don't think the tenacity and the sort of physicality of the Premier League system whatsoever. I think he's probably much suited towards maybe a different league, like Spanish League, for example. And I think Paul hitting the nail on the head in that he shows flashes of, absolute brilliance, but never does it across a whole 90 minutes, never mind a consistent run of games. And I think that will always be his issue. And I just thought today he was just atrocious. And also, his previous game, I think, his last start came against Reading. And if you can't really raise your game against Reading, they aren't just any old championship team, they're a relegation candidate in the championship, then you just don't have a future at United, as simple as that.
Fair enough. That is fair enough. By the way, David Trainer, it's good to see you here, man. And Superboy, I thought I said Lindelof 8, but if you didn't hear that, I'm sorry. So Lindelof got an 8 for me. Let's see here. So sorry, guys. Like I said, my chat sometimes will just fly by. But so for me, guys, Pereira, I thought had a decent first half. That's my personal opinion. There was a couple of passes that he put in that he put people through on goal, one-on-one with the keeper, and they couldn't put away chances. But the second half, it just completely ruined the entire first half. Like I probably would have given him a 6 today, maybe probably a 5 because of the 2 goals. But if it wasn't for him basically being completely like 50% at fault for one of the goals, but because of being 50% for being at fault for one of the goals, I drop his rating by 2, and I'm giving him a 3 today. That's just my personal opinion. But Jonathan Ford, by the way, this is a new channel. It's not super new. I've been doing it since middle of October, but I do appreciate you joining in. So Superboy13 did say, I feel for Pereira, which I think that a lot of us do. Jake Pert said Pereira 3. Let's see here. And
I'm not going to lie, I did feel a little bit sorry for him when the camera went straight on his face after that goal.
Yeah.
Like, you can tell he just knew he messed up big time there.
Yeah, you're absolutely right.
But if we're going to hold Matic to those same standards of, pissing about in the ball in his own third, then we've got to say the same for Pereira.
Yep. No, we hold everybody to the same standards here. AFAF did say Pereira 1. Vandy Candy said Pereira 3. Poor, but he hasn't gotten enough chances under Jose and the new regime to judge him, which that's a fair comment. Richard Duff said Pereira 3, part of Deadwood FC. Jake Pert did say scrap that too. Pereira 10, didn't wear pink boots. I'm loving the meme ratings for Mr. Exclusive. Thank you.
It's always a...
So what Wallace said Pereira 1, and he should not start ever again. Saban said Pereira 0, never will be a good player. Mourinho will be like, I told you so about Andre, said Superboy. Jay Hart said, time for Pereira to go. 4 managers disregarded him. 4 seasons on loan, and tonight he gets a 4. I love all the 4s there. Paul Gardner said Pereira 4, 1 or 2 good passes, but largely wasteful and at fault for the goal. Very rare that I would give a lower rating than Paul Gardner. That's interesting. So AFF did say Pogba, Matic, even Shaw covered up for him a lot today. Tyler123 said Pereira 5, but needs more game time, which I agree. I do think that Pereira needs more game time before we can truly judge him, because you could see that he was just a little bit lost out there today, and I would be interested to see him play again. And funny enough, with how bad of a game he had, I wouldn't be surprised to see him start again very soon to try and for Ollie to basically try and give him that confidence, like that. Hey, kid, you're all good. Get back out there and go keep doing you. Susan said Pereira 3. Sadly,
because we've got Chelsea in the next round of the FA Cup. If we had a team maybe like, I don't know, Millwall or something, then it would have been a good opportunity. But there's no real, games that we can experiment, as you like.
That's fair. Susan did say Pereira 3, sadly due to the goal. Superboy 113 said I'm going generous to Pereira and give him a 5. Let's see here. Is this a new channel? So Jonathan Ford, yeah, this is a little, like I said, this is a little bit of a new channel. But let's move on to Paul Pogba. Thought Paul Pogba had a good game today. He didn't have a great game, but nobody had a great game. So Matthew, what would you give Paul Pogba today?
I'm not going to lie, I thought he was absolutely fantastic in the first half.
Fair.
But like I said earlier on, he just seemed quite frustrated and almost angry in a way in the second half. And things just really didn't quite work for him. I think overall, he's probably going to get one of the better ratings in the team, and it probably has to be a 6 out of 10. Because in the first half, he tried quite a lot, but ultimately it just wasn't really there. In the second half, he faded out a tiny little bit.
And I get where you're coming from, Matthew. I'm going to give him a 7 because I feel like he was the leader on the pitch today. Like overall, I feel like he was the leader on the pitch, and I didn't notice him continue trying to get to be the team, tell the team hey, come on, let's go, don't drop your heads, let's keep going at this. But that's just my personal opinion. And it's also the reason why I think Pogba should be the captain currently of Manchester United, not Ashley Young. Let's see. Matthew, did you have something to say? I'm sorry.
Oh, no, I was just saying, yeah, I agree with that. Pogba being the captain thing.
Okay, cool. Awesome. AFF did say Pogba 9. Paul Gardner said Pogba 6. Mr. Screw said Pogba 1, didn't dab, headbutt someone. Again, I get where he's coming from with his meme rating since he said he didn't get to watch the match because it wasn't on in the UK. Fair enough. Let's see here. Saban said Pogba 7. Susan said Pogba 7. Vandy Candy said Pogba 6. Created few chances and took his penalty well. That was a very well taken penalty, by the way. He literally didn't even do anything but place it in the top bins. Richard Duff said Pogba 8.5. Jay Hart said Pogba was average today in comparison to other games, a 6 for me. Tyler123 said Pogba first half, 8 first half, and 6 second half. Passes are always on point, which is 100% true. Superboy 13 echoing what I was saying about Pogba being the future captain and asking why is Young our captain. It's a great question. Jake Pert said Pogba 6. Wallace said Pogba 8 and captain next season. Superboy 13 changed their rating to an 8, by the way. So let's go ahead. Let's move on to our front line for the starters. Juan Mata, I mean, I feel bad for the guy, man. You could just see that he's frustrated the fact that he's lost his pace. And we've talked about it on the show before, and I think, unfortunately, this game really shows that it might be time to move on from Juan Mata unless he's only going to be a bench option. And I don't know if he'd be willing to accept only being a bench option. Matthew, what are you going to give him today?
If I'm giving Pereira a 2 out of 10, I've got to give Mata the same. I didn't see anything that worked out for him. Even the free kick. When you've got that free kick that's just outside the box, Juan Mata is, most likely the best in the world at it. And he just didn't really show that whatsoever. He just blasted it into the wall. And I think he got more increasingly frustrated, which is why he got that weird yellow card put in that no one really expects of Mata.
Yeah.
He was awful. He just doesn't have a long-term future at United, especially if he's playing off the right. And even then, we can't really make too much of an excuse for that because he didn't really play that far out. He played more towards the middle. Obviously, more right-sided than the other 2 attackers, but still.
Yeah.
Just like...
No, and Mata is somebody that I think that we all love because he is genuinely one of the nicest guys in football. But being a nice guy doesn't mean that you're just automatically going to be kept in a team. And so,
is the fact that he's not been consistently good since 2016. Yeah,
it's unfortunate, but it's true. So for me, I'm going to give Juan Mata a 3 today. It's unfortunate, but he probably shouldn't start another game, at least for a little bit. That's just my personal opinion, but I don't think that we should be putting him out there. It's sad. It is sad. Jake Pert said 4 for Mata. Superboy 13 said Mata was dreadful too. Saban said Mata 5. Wallace said Mata 4. AFF said Mata 2. J Hart said Mata a 4. Unfortunately, I like him as a person, but as a footballer, it's over. Susan said, love Mata, but he had a bad game, 5. AFF did say another Fabregas, created nothing. Tyler123 said Mata 4, has bad game, but needs to start getting into first team to prove his ability. Vandy Candy said Mata 3 needs to go. Richard Duff said Mata 3 not good enough and always kept coming inside and killing our right side. Jonathan Ford said not too bothered about league because the end of the day, first is first and all other positions are nowhere. So in the years post Ferguson and the pressure in modern day football is win trophies. Superboy 13 did say Mata's been on the decline. He's saying that the top 4 means nothing. He's basically saying if you're not going to be first, he's going with the classic Ricky Bobby. If you ain't first, you're last. Gotta love it. But as long as we get top 4 at the end of the year, I think everybody will be happy. Let's see here. Paul Gardner did say Mata 5. And I think that's everybody. So Matthew, let's go ahead. Let's move on to Marcus Rashford. Really, it was an off night for him, but it was also an off night for everybody. So what are you going to give Marcus Rashford today?
We were talking about him off stream just before we started recording. I think the best phrase that sums him up was he was the Rashford of 3 months ago.
Yes.
Where he was getting into some good possessions, doing some nice tricks, getting past his man. But he really should have done better with that first chance that he had. Like you can see what he was trying to do.
Yeah.
Any other game under Ole, he would have done it. But today he just didn't really have much confidence. And I think that was made all the more so by that early miss.
Yes. 100%. And listen, guys.
I wouldn't say it's a terrible game.
You wouldn't say it was a terrible game?
I'd maybe give him a 5.5 maybe. Because he still did occasional decent thing.
That's true.
Just a bit more wasteful than what we expected him.
That's true. Listen, ultimately, Marcus Rashford today, I think we could see that he isn't comfortable playing with Lukaku up front.
Yeah.
I think that if Marcus Rashford is going to be playing with Lukaku needs to be more out on the right-hand side. And because Marcus Rashford has kind of proved that he is the guy to be playing up top. And listen, I think everybody could see where the tactics were. The fact that we put Lukaku out there because we needed to compete with Burnley in the air. That was the reason why Lukaku won today. That's the reason why Lukaku got the start today. But ultimately, Lukaku, which we'll talk about him here in a second, but Lukaku shouldn't be being the lead striker over Marcus Rashford in Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's system. Like, it's just the truth. So for me, I'm going to give Rashford a 5 as well. Like you said, Matthew, you could see what he was trying to do, but it wasn't coming together today for him. Vandy Candy said Rashford 5. Paul Gardner said Rashford 5. Saban said Rashford 5. AFF said Rashford was abysmal. He gets a 1. Jake Pert said said 5. Rashford was not on form tonight. 5 from Susan. Jay Hart said 6 for Rashford. He tried, but the final ball, he suddenly had Mourinho flashbacks tonight, which exactly what Matthew was just talking about. Since I heard the draw versus Chelsea, I fancy United with their chances. Richard Duff said Rashford 5, not a winger, needs to be our out-and-out striker from now on. Richard, I completely agree. Superboy 13 said Rashford miss was wasteful, but still love him. 5. Tyler123 said Rashford 4, has to have one bad game now and then, but still not too bad and is brilliant taking on players. And Superboy 13 did say Rashford is not a winger, which that is very true. Fanny said Mata is undeniably a great guy and was a world-class player. Now I think he's lost his touch and should move, but we love him to have something to do with the club in the future, which I 100% agree with, Fanny. 100% agree with. I would love to see Mata be a future representative of the club. And I think that's everybody's ratings. So then last but not least, in terms of starters, we move on to Lukaku. Lukaku really... he was on to be a strong man for us today. And it's weird for somebody that is his size. Lukaku does not play the strong man very well. Matthew, what are you going to give him today?
I was just back to his usual donkey self, to be honest. I think those 2 assists against Arsenal were, I think, just an absolute stroke of genius. It's like all the planets have aligned perfectly. And we're suddenly seeing Lukaku capable of playing football and setting up a decent goal for Jesse Lingard. And then we fell back to reality today. And he was shit. Let's be honest. Against Burnley, where it's going to be a good physical matchup, he just didn't really have any impact whatsoever.
Yeah. It's unfortunate, but it's true.
Yeah. I think if I'm being generous, I give him a 5. If I'm being a bit more realistic, I'd maybe give him a 4.
We only play the realistic card here, Matthew, so it's a 4. Okay? Like
that's fair enough.
No, but in all seriousness, I think
argue with that.
I think a 4 is very appropriate for him tonight. You could even, if you were being super harsh, you give him a 3 because he was brought on to be a target man, and he didn't win one header tonight. He didn't. At least not anything notable, nothing worth being like brought up. And it's a game where it was obvious that we were missing Martial and Lingard. So for me, I'm going to give Lukaku a 4 as well. So I actually be really interested to see what you guys give Lukaku. So Jake Pert said 3. Jay Hart said Mata will be a better ambassador than York, which I think that's fair. Jonathan Ford did say we missed Martial today big time, which I 100% agree with. Saban said
happened against Huddersfield because Martial wasn't in that squad because I think he had food poisoning for a bad Christmas dinner. And you could just see how much we missed him.
Yeah. People are afraid of Martial. That's the truth of it. They do not want to be on the other end of him when he's running at them. It's the truth. Saban said Lukaku 4. Sanchez should have started instead of Lukaku, said AFAF, which I 100% agree with. And then Lukaku got a 1 from AFAF. Wish Martial was playing, said Superboy 13, which I 100% agree with. Susan said Lukaku 4, didn't add anything. Richard Duff said Lukaku -1. Jay Hart said Lukaku a 3, just a big lumbering boulder that tries to crash the wall but falls down the cliff instead. Man, you guys, again, I give credit where credit's due. You guys are spot on with your comedy tonight. Superboy said Lukaku 0. Vandy Candy said Lukaku 2. People forget how trash Kolasinac is, which made Lukaku look like an elite passer. Fair. Jake Pert said Lukaku, for his size, is a crap target man. He can't win headers and is crap, needs to be sold, which I am 100% for selling him if it means we're going to get somebody back. Fanny said, what actually happened to Martial? I'm assuming he was injured. I haven't been keeping up on it. Apparently, according to Ollie, he was injured today, injured in training. That's what was said. Let's see here. I'm just seeing if anybody else said anything. Lukaku seems more suitable for sumo wrestling. Shane, another. I like it. Let's see here. George Kyle said, realistically, Lukaku is the infirm man in the hospital bed who relies on his crosses as his oxygen tank, and in which other selfish patients is not giving him the oxygen tank. You guessed it, Young. So basically, more trash talk on Young. I love it. He's Ashley Young is an oxygen.
To realize exactly what that was all about, and then I realized, oh yeah, oxygen thief.
Yeah, I was like, he's going with the oxygen thief. George is just savage tonight. All the savageness.
Did you see it rating for Young? Give him a -12.
Yes, I did see.
Yeah,
I respect it. Wallace said Lukaku is becoming Hulk, gaining weight, and he needs to go. He needs to go like Murata. Very fair. Haha, banter. It's good to see you in here. I hope you. It's good to see you joining us from the United Stand at the very least. I appreciate it. So, Jonathan Ford, I'm going to read out your comment here. It said, the fundamental problem today was why would we play crossing into the box versus Burnley, kings of the header and hoofs. Lukaku is a good striker if he has played with Hazard. Fact, which, I mean, you're not necessarily wrong. When he plays alongside Hazard and De Bruyne, I mean, it's pretty easy to look quality, because when you have somebody that is like Lukaku, that is more of an off-the-shoulder kind of striker, he can play like that with those guys. But we try and use him as a target man too often, and it really fails. And Superboy, I do think that we will beat Chelsea in the FA Cup. I'm almost positive Matthew will agree.
Yeah, 100%.
So let's see here. I think that was everybody. And then so now we can move on to the subs. Lingard came on, and to me, he really made an instant impact. It's exactly what we were talking about, Matthew. Lingard, for me, deserves a rating today. What are you going to give him?
I'd probably give him a 7 out of 10.
Yeah.
Because things that matter just couldn't. And
yeah.
I've criticised Lingard to the moon and back. I've absolutely slated him in the past. However, under Ole, he just seems like the perfect player. Like, he's perfect for that system. He's constantly pressing, constantly finding space where Pogba could feed him. And obviously he didn't quite do that today, but he's perfect for Ole. And anyone who moonwalks in the Emirates is just going to get, an extra +2 rating from me.
And every single match. That's fair enough, Matthew. That's fair.
That's just piss boiling at the highest order.
So let's see here. So for me, I'm going to give Lingard a 7 as well. Like, he came on and he made an instant impact. You could see that that Burnley instantly became uncomfortable when he came on. And it was when he came on that we really started pressing really, really high up the pitch. So I give Lingard a lot of credit in that. Vandy Candy said Lingard did okay, 4. Wallace said Lingard 8. Saban said Lingard 7. Jay Hart said 6. AFAF said 7. Richard Duff said 7. She changed the game. While we will get into the Champions League talk soon enough, but we won't talk about it here today, just because that's a huge, huge topic, because PSG will be a huge, huge test for us, despite the fact that Neymar will be out. Let's see here. Susan said Lingard should have come on earlier. 7. I agree with that. We should have signed Varane, not Jones. Very fair. Very fair. And I think that's everybody. So then, Matthew, I really don't feel like Sanchez. I think Sanchez was the only other sub in the match.
I think so, because I remember ranting about the fact that Mata's still on.
Yes. Yeah, no, I think we both thought that Mata would be subbed off at some point, and I actually thought that Delo might come on to put crosses into the box. But I think that Sanchez, just kind of was what he was. He just came on and he kind of didn't do much. So,
typical Sanchez, really.
6?
That's fair. 6 out of 5. Any of those should be.
Just an average rating, whatever you would consider an average rating, consider it that. Because he helped out a little bit. He did put a couple of decent crosses into the box, and the header that he put onto Heaton that Heaton saved created the chance for Lindelof to put the ball in the net. So I'll give him that. Glenn Bruce, Tom Heaton did play amazing. So, I think you pretty much are all agreeing that Sanchez just average. So, Matthew, we might as well talk about it. We do tend to give Ollie a rating. I think today is the first day that overall, because I feel like trying to give him a rating based on everything is hard today. So I think just giving an overall rating makes more sense. And just so you guys know, I think Matthew will probably agree with me. Tom Heaton, he gets the man of the match today for both teams.
Yep.
I recognize when somebody did something, and Tom Heaton basically made it so Manchester United didn't win 5-2. That's the truth. He made amazing save after amazing save, and the man deserves the man of the match today.
There was one save that was particularly David De Gea-esque. Well, again, I've forgotten exactly when in the game it was, but there was a shot that came to him and he dived. But as well as just tapping the ball out, he scooped it out. managed to kind of throw it to the defence. And there was so much shades of the hair when it came to that.
Yeah. I agree. And Vince Russo said Heaton. I'm saying me was better, which listen. If that's your opinion, that's fair. I'm not going to fault anybody for their opinion. So Matthew, today, I mean, what would you give Ole Gunnar Solskjaer? I feel like this was really and truly the first time that we could probably have maybe something negative to say about him.
Yeah, I don't really know what to give him, to be honest. I think if it stayed 2-0 to Burnley, I would have probably given a 5 out of 10. Because I think, he still chose a relatively strong team. And I think a lot of our shortcomings today was due to the players. But equally, it just wasn't quite the same tactics as beforehand. I think he tried to be better than Burnley at what their game was. And I think when you're up against a team who plays like that, you just don't do that. Because they're masters of the long ball.
Yeah.
But the fact that we got, those two late goals that are so reminiscent of what we've seen from Ole as a player, I'd be tempted to give him a 6. I thought it was just a bit of an average game, really.
I think if we were to give him like a match rating, I'd probably give him a 5 today. Because we did come back and we did draw, but ultimately I think that dropping Herrera, while I get why you're doing that, I think that dropping Herrera was the ultimate detriment to the team. And then add in the fact that the tactics from the start, the tactics from the start weren't spot on. And we tried to play balls into the box against a team that they headed out everything. That's pretty much what they do. If you're going to try and beat Burnley, you have to try and beat them with quick passing, not balls in over the top. So, and Glenn, thank you very much. I appreciate that. But I just think that Ole today, he made his first ever mistake as a Manchester United manager. But at the same time, like Matthew mentioned, we came back. It's something that I honestly believe that if Mourinho were here, I believe we probably would have come back with the draw too. But I can tell you this, there is no way, and I think Matthew will be 100% in agreement with me here, there is no way I would have been as excited with pulling back a draw as I was with Ole pulling back a draw.
Yes. Yeah, definitely.
Like,
this team has showed that we can actually go out there and beat teams 3-4-5-0. And we just never saw it under Mourinho.
Yeah.
So I think we would have been even more annoyed if Mourinho was still manager. You can guess what his style of play was going to be. It would just be long ball after long ball after long ball. So yeah, I think it would have been a bit more frustrating under Mourinho. But this is the thing. We can give Ole some kind of criticism today. However, it's taken him into his 9th game before he makes any sort of real mistakes.
Yeah. That's impressive, Matthew. Like, that's truly impressive.
He's still unbeaten in 9 games.
Yeah, it's something that is truly impressive, and I do think that when we do our preview for Leicester City on the weekend, I think that we're both going to be fairly confident again that Ole will make the changes that are appropriate, and we will 100% come back and win against Leicester. I believe that 100%. And Fanny, just so you know, I think that everybody on this show agrees we need to make Pogba captain. You could see that Paul Pogba is the leader on the pitch. So, Matthew, let's go ahead and let's wrap this up. I mean, 2-2, pulled out the big draw. I mean, what is your final thought, your final takeaway for today?
I think it's just the absolute definition of mixed emotions. Because for the most part of that game, we were terrible. However, to get those 2 late goals, that's what Man United's all about. I mean, obviously we didn't win, and we would have liked that, and the fact that I wasted £10 on bets, but like I said about that, the better. I still think it was, mixed emotions, really.
That's a good way to put it, Matthew. Mixed emotions, because we went from a super low that we were 2-0 down, and I put out the tweet. I fully admit it. I put out the tweet that it looked like when we went 2-0 down, I was like, that's probably game over. That's probably going to be Ole's first loss. And Manchester United pulled it back. like it's something that I was like I fully expected to not be able to pull it off because it just looked like that there was something off. But yet Manchester United pulled classic Manchester United, and we came back from the depths of hell and got back up to earth. And to pull out the draw is a huge result. It's something that we needed to see. We needed to see how the team would react when we went down under Ollie. We went 2-0 down and we brought it back. It's something that, like, it's impossible to not take note of. And like George said, my final thoughts today: burn the deadwood. And listen, that is the true final takeaway. We can see that we've got players in this team that probably should not be in the team. We won't get into that right now because you could, and in fact, if you guys want to see a video of exactly how I feel about who probably needs to leave for Manchester United, I think there's only one player I disagreed with him on. It was Mr. Exclusive. If you guys go check out Mr. Exclusive's video on Deadwood FC, I actually 100% agree with his choices other than the goalkeeper. That's about it. But huge match today.
Don't say he said Lee Grant.
No, he said Joel Pereira.
I think it was close to heart. Joel Pereira, really?
Yeah, I was kind of surprised by that. Random thing said sell Lulu, which I'm assuming you mean Lukaku, which I think that we all agree with. I'm 100% for selling Lukaku. If he wants to go to Italy, let's sell him to Napoli now, and let's go ahead and let's get Koulibaly. Swap deal. I'll even give him some money on top of it. So Mr. Exclusive said he was put on loan. I'm sorry, Mr. Exclusive, I forgot about that. But for the most part, I agree with all of Mr. Exclusive's Deadwood FC team. For the most part. So, guys, like, it was a great match overall. Like, the fact that we got to see the comeback, it's hard to not be happy with the comeback. But, Matthew, thank you for joining me today.
No worries.
Obviously, you guys, you see these right here? Matthew makes these. I don't know how many times I'm going to say it. Probably 1,000 more. But Matthew makes these posters. They're phenomenal. You need to get them. Matthew, talk about your store, bro.
Yeah, on a scale from 10 to 10, how pissed off in the chat with you constantly mentioning them. But you know what? I don't care. I'm going to plug them to the moon and back. If you're a fan of Ole, right? I tried putting this in the chat last time. Wouldn't work. But there's one particular Ole 99 poster. The links worked. It's in the chat. So if you click on that, you'll see it. It's actually done quite a few sales already, which is quite nice.
I'm pretty sure it's from this picture right here, just straight on, right?
Yeah, I think it's a different angle though.
Yeah, it's just a straight on.
Legendary slide.
Yeah, it is a phenomenal poster. It really is. But you guys,
I'll give you the money for shouting that out later.
Listen, much appreciated. Much appreciated. My check is always in the mail. But
love a good bit of bravery to it.
But listen, guys, again, like I said, it was a great comeback win. I'm happy to get the win. I hope you all can drop a like on your way out. If you really like it, share it with your friends. I really feel like we are building a great community here. I noticed a few new people today, which was awesome to see. I really love having new people in the chat. And I really love and hope that you guys will continue to join us down the road as we continue to talk about, everything that is sports on this channel. We talk about everything. We talk about Manchester United. We talk about Premier League. We talk about the NFL. We talk about WWE. I'm trying to find time to start covering NBA, but it's really, really hard to do. When Phoenix Rising season starts, which it's about to start soon, that's Phoenix Rising right here, guys. That's my local club. And, guys, we're just...
By the way, have a look at those Phoenix Rising new kits. I'll tell you what, there's something else.
The black and copper, man, that is...
The black and copper.
So, guys, I would normally do a dab for 15 likes, but I'm just going to tell you now, we don't dance when we only draw. We don't. That's not appropriate behavior.
That's an elite mentality there.
That's
absolutely elite.
Yeah, that's not appropriate behavior. We don't do it. So, guys, I hope you guys all have a great night, a great day, wherever you're at and whatever you're doing. Keep doing you because I love you guys, and you guys are awesome. Let's hope Manchester United can bounce back in a big way against Leicester. Have a good night.